At the KSMO studios, time for our spotlight on the Salem Memorial Hospital. We got Dawn from Materials Management. Your first time.
Yes.
How are
Hello.
you, Dawn?
I'm good. How are you
I'm doing
doing?
good. I'm doing good. Dawn's been doing this now for a while.
A long time.
Yeah, 8 years, you're telling me,
With the hospital, yeah.
with the hospital. But you've been a buyer for a long
About
time.
30 years.
You must really like to buy stuff.
I do. It's so fun.
So in your off time, I'm sure you don't do QVC or anything. I'm tired of buying.
No.
Nonetheless,
Yeah.
yeah, you probably won't find anything for the hospital on QVC that
No,
you
no.
can really use.
No.
Yeah, but anyway, but it's a challenge. We were talking a little bit before we came on the air in materials management because we were actually talking about the COVID time, but to find good prices on things because in the hospital business, all of a sudden it seems like things get a high demand and then the price goes skyrocketing. You're trying to find the best price to keep it low for patients, and that the hospital can get these ahead of time because the hospital has to buy them to have them on hand when that patient needs it. It's not like you buy it when the patient comes in. You say, "Oh yeah, we need to get four uniforms for this patient today." It's not like that. You have to really see the future when you're a buyer, don't you?
Absolutely, you do. So we have what's called a GPO. It's a group purchasing organization that
Okay.
we try to purchase within. But even with that, things go on manufacturer back order. So you're not able to get it. So you have to go outside of that.
Mm-hmm.
And absolutely, like what you said, the prices, you're not going to be within pricing at that point. And you're getting it wherever you can get it. You do have to project sales and, sales, purchasing. You have
Yeah.
to project what you think is going to happen. And, you just can't always do that with healthcare. So you just do the best that you can. You never know what might come up. Nobody could have thought anything like
Yeah,
COVID was going to
COVID.
happen.
Yeah, we were talking about that and the amount of waste that was
Hmm.
involved with COVID and every uniform, well, say uniform, every hazmat suit that they put on because, I hated when I was in the hospital, even ringing the bell, knowing that the nurse is going to have to put all this on just to come in and push the button and then walk back out and throw it all away.
Hmm.
One use, nothing, and how much does that cost the hospital? And you guys were not going to be reimbursed at full cost either, were you?
No, no, not at all. We, it was very expensive at that time. People knew that we had to have it. I mean, we were lucky enough to get some things from state,
Hmm.
but not enough. Not enough.
And the sad part about when you start talking about getting items in, especially while COVID was, because the manufacturing of a number of items was reduced to very few, or maybe they were just eliminated totally until later on. So if you didn't have them in stock, trying to find them, I'm sure it's like finding a needle in a haystack for you.
Especially with us being such a small hospital, the bigger hospitals had priority. So there's allocations. So because we're small and they're not used to seeing us purchase a large amount of things,
Hmm.
they didn't keep a lot for us. The larger hospitals kind of got to hoard things. And I'm sure that they even had issues with getting things. But yeah, it was very hard to find what we needed, especially at the prices that we needed them. That was just pretty much impossible.
Right, but even with group purchasing organizations like you might be involved with, okay, so
Hmm.
you have your favorite vendors. They know
Hmm.
who they are for the most part, and you get probably a pretty good price on those items. But like you said, there may be a limitation, and when the supply dries up or the demand gets high, the price goes up. And then, like you're saying, when you need to get something, it's not there. I'm not going to say it's easy to go find another organization that sells it, but and even if you do find one outside the GPO, they may not have enough of what you need,
Right, and we're not their customer.
and you're
So
not
they
going to
don't
get
care.
that. Yeah, you're not going to get the
And
discount either.
there's been situations where there's been so some of the places that manufacture these products, they manufacture them for everybody,
Hmm.
and maybe a hurricane hit their manufacturing plant. Well, they're not making them anymore because they've got to rebuild.
Yeah.
So nobody's getting them. And then there's a situation where, okay, there's these subs. They're not the greatest subs, but you have to use them. They're not even, some of them aren't even really adequate subs, but they're what they have.
But it's all you have.
It's all that we have. So, you just do the best that you
and
can with what we have.
and I'll clarify, it's not all that you have, it's all that's available. It's
Exactly.
not just Salem Hospital.
Right.
It's any
It's
hospital.
anywhere. Correct.
You can't get it. And I don't think people realize that this happens all the time, doesn't it?
It does. It's a constant battle.
And shipping, and obviously we all know that the shipping prices have changed, and you're trying to work your best deal, and a lot of times, and I'm sure you're running into this, a hospital will. I know my brother did when he had a restaurant, is you ship stuff in, all of a sudden you're getting a surcharge on that shipping because of the cost of fuel, getting up close to $4 or $5. California, it's already $5. Here it's $3.35. If they're shipping it from California, guess what? You're going to pay that surcharge, aren't you?
Yeah. Yeah, and with the medical field, a lot of times we need things that are overnighted or shipped expeditiously. So
Nightmare overnight.
oh
something.
gosh, yeah, yeah. It's just there's a lot of costs that people don't realize, or has to be built in.
So materials management, talk to our listeners who may not be familiar with this. I am familiar with it because I've dealt with a number of people in materials management. I hadn't dealt with you before, so this is interesting, but I haven't really been down to that department probably in about 20 years. It is vast, but it's not everything. I mean, you don't order the drugs. That's the pharmacist.
Correct. So
but you're in charge of virtually
pretty much
anything for the normal day-to-day operation of the hospital. That's going to come through you.
Yes, I don't order anything from the pharmacy or the dietary. I do order some things from the dietary, but very little.
Mostly non-food items.
Correct. Yeah. So basically anything from a cotton swab to an ambulance.
Wow, you get to order the ambulance?
Yeah. Yeah, I get to help.
That's a kind of
big
ticket item.
they have to give me the specifics on that, but yeah.
So you actually send out the
there's a lot
specifics on the ambulance for people to bid on.
A lot of times the director of EMS, they're very highly involved, and we haven't had to do that for a while. Okay. But it's been a couple of years.
So let's explain it. We all see things changing in the medical field all the time. From stretchers to be able to do certain things, to different types of chairs, to machinery, to equipment. How do you keep up on the latest? Because obviously you're getting hit with salespeople telling you, I have the latest and the greatest, and how do you know that that's right for Salem Hospital? Or, how much research do you have to do into these things?
A lot of it is relying on the directors for the different departments, because they need to keep up on, they're very, very good at keeping up on all of that type of thing, because they, I don't know everything about everything.
Sure.
There's no way for one person to know everything about all that. But they're very good and very skilled at what they do, thankfully. And they do a lot of research before it ever comes to me. So I rely very heavily on what they know.
So before you would order something for them, they would be coming to you and say, Dawn, we're looking at this new product, and let me tell you about it. So if there's a question or two that they come back, when you're ordering something, somebody might say, well, I only have 5 of those. Well, you don't know if you actually have to have 10. Do you have to have 10? Or can I go with 5? So I'm sure you talk to all the directors about those things, because those specifics are very key to what you're doing.
Right. And then, the administration's very highly involved, and sometimes the board's involved. It just depends on the amount of money that's going to be spent on whatever it is. But
well, the amount of money on supplies, and we know the board has talked about it, and the supplies has unbelievably gone up to where it is always virtually every month it's over budget. And it has nothing to do with what your job is. It's the availability and the price that you have to pay.
Yeah, there's constantly every month, like I was telling you, manufacturer back orders. So we're constantly having to go outside of our GPO, our group purchasing plan. So you're never going to be within your budget when you have to do that. We can do the best that we can do, and cross our fingers that they're going to get everything worked out on their ends, and we can get our allocations, and they can get product back in stock on their end so that we can get product back in our price ranges.
But before COVID, that was a lot more controlled.
Correct.
You knew you'd have some price increases, okay, but they used to bump that up. I think it was 12% on the price every year, so that you'd fall within your budget. Okay, and they were actually
It was pretty consistent back
pretty
then.
good. They were falling within their budget. And then after COVID, I mean, it has just
It's
it's
haywire.
gone crazy with prices. And it may even be things that you wouldn't even think that would suddenly just shoot up in price for no reason.
Right. And it's very strange, too. Some of the things that go on manufacturer back order, like 1 month it'll be crutches. Because I remember I couldn't find crutches. And I'm like, how can I not find crutches? That's just silly. And right now there's different syringes and different needles and things like that. It's just sporadic what it is. Different fluids, different IV fluids. It just, every month it's changing.
So do you have I got a weekly schedule. Do you have specific days that you're ordering for this department or that department or that department? Otherwise, do you just go in there every day and want to know what's backed up waiting for me when I walk in the door? I mean, it probably is some of that anyway, but
Yeah.
I'm just kind of wondering, how do you organize that?
I run a daily report to see where we're at with each vendor.
Okay.
And I have certain vendors I have to order on a certain day.
Okay.
And I have a cutoff time. So I have to order by a certain time. So I just I kind of keep track of what I've got from everybody's special orders, that type of thing. And I keep track of which vendors they belong to. And I have to organize it that way.
And I bet you have your own system.
I do. I do.
I would have to think so. It's one that you're really comfortable with.
I do.
That way you know what's in it, but to try and teach somebody else that would probably not be very easy, would it?
No, it wouldn't.
Because
No.
they'd sit there, why? Dawn, why do you do it that way? Just do it that way.
It's just, I know what I'm doing.
Well, and you probably, and I say this in all honesty, you had to make mistakes to learn that system.
Yeah. And I didn't have anybody, the person that I took over for back when I first started was already gone by the time I got there. And she did a little bit of a different job. So the job I got hired for wasn't necessarily the job she had. So I had to come up with a whole different process to begin with. And the job I have now combined the job I had then and my boss's job that I took over. So it combined two jobs in one. So I totally had to come up with a new process. I'm kind of coming up with it still. So.
Is there anything on the horizon that could simplify that? I mean, everybody says we'll just put it all on computer. Well, you still got to learn how to do that. I mean, there's always that learning curve, and no matter what you do, right?
Yeah, I don't know about the simplification of it. I'm trying different processes all the time. My staff right now consists of 3 people. So 2 of them are part-time and one's full-time. She's a receiving clerk, so she can't, conflict of interest. She can't do what I'm doing. And the other 2 are part-time, so it's kind of hard to train somebody to be my backup. So I'm my own backup. We'll get to it, sometime it'll work itself
Sure.
out, but,
And let's explain to people why you say it's a conflict of interest. You're not allowed to order and receive because there has to be that check in between.
There has
right?
to be checks and balances.
Right.
If I order something and then I receive it and I'm not someone who has integrity, I could be scamming the hospital.
Sure.
So.
Or taking a product and selling it.
Correct.
And that's one of the things, and that's why I wanted to let people know there are a lot of checks and balances with these jobs, so that it's not just in the door and then out the door, and nobody even knew it was here.
Right.
And you can understand that this could be, that could lead to a lot of different lawsuits somewhere down the road, and also the bad reputation that your hospital can get for something like that. So all those checks and balances are in place to make sure that protect the integrity of the hospital.
Right.
Yeah, and the integrity of the person too.
Yep.
Really, it's kind of a two-way street there, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Do you see anything changing in materials management? You know, we have all these inventories. Everything is on computer, and it spits out. I'm sure you get report after report from every single department. Do you see anything somewhere down the road that maybe you've heard about that might be changing the system that you have developed for yourself?
Not really right now. I don't know.
Hmm.
I don't know. I think we have good things on the horizon overall for the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
The hospital's a great place to work. I mean, I love it there. We got great people that work there. So I just have nothing but high hopes for all of us.
Yeah, we all do. And I know the board is working hard at it, and they've got a special meeting again today, you know. So,
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of things they're trying to straighten out, and we've got to put our faith into them because there's a lot of decisions that have to be made, a lot of different things that have to go that we don't need to know out here because they don't happen overnight. You know, it's
They
not
don't, right.
It's just like if they make a decision, it doesn't happen tonight. You know, It's
Right.
going to happen over a period of time. And, like any good thing that has to come about, you have to do some research into a lot of different things, do your homework. And I'm sure the board is doing that very thing because they are very conscientious. And I know a lot of people say, well, you know, that they've done this and done that. You know what? There's a lot of sides to these stories that unfortunately the hospital has been a part of in the last 3 years. And it's a shame we've had to go through this. But, you know, you come out of it stronger.
Yeah.
That's all you can
Always.
really do. You look at it, how we can improve it. We've gone through some bad times. We've gone through some worse times, and
That's with everything, yeah.
And we have still emerged, and we're still going, and that's a tip of the cap. Not only people like yourself who are still willing to work hard and can constantly promote the hospital, which is great, and we've had that and we've had that last week with the nurses, and it's nursing week this week. And
It is.
have you been part of those activities at all? Get a chance to root somebody on?
We root them on for sure. And then next week is hospital week. So I'm the president of our employee activities committee. So we've got that going on next week.
Oh.
But yeah, we are definitely rooting on nurses this week. So if you guys know a nurse, please, please, please tell them how appreciated they are and we've got great nurses.
Yeah, we do.
Oh my gosh, at our hospital, they're wonderful. So if you know a nurse, tell them how much you appreciate them.
Special breed, aren't they?
Yeah.
They really are.
So much heart has to go into a I don't even like to call that a job. That is a life choice.
Yeah, it is.
I mean,
You know, and especially at a place like Salem Hospital, when you're probably going to be familiar with about 90% of your patients, you're going to know their family or somebody in their family.
right, and it's going to tug at your heart.
Oh, it does, especially when somebody's in dire need, or especially in their recovery, and they're in there rooting them on to get healthy again.
Right.
So, as for National Hospital Week, do you have some plans?
We do.
Well, you want to enlighten us a little bit?
Sure. So we've got theme days every day next week. So Monday is going to be Magical Monday, just another Magic Monday.
Magic Monday. I think it's Manic Monday.
Well,
but-
we're calling it Magic Monday. We're not doing that manic stuff.
I was just curious.
But yeah, we're changing that up a little bit.
With Magic Mike showing up, right?
What? We didn't think about that, you know. We'll think about that for next year, maybe.
Okay. So, Magic Monday. Okay.
Yeah.
So, what's Magic Monday going into?
So if we can theme day, so dress up as your favorite. If you want to be a fairy princess, you want to be, Harry Potter, whatever your favorite magical themed character is.
Come as Houdini.
You
And then
could.
disappear.
You well, stay there and do your work,
Oh.
but be invisible if you want to. But
you don't take the theme to heart.
right. At 2:00 you can have some cake.
Yeah, okay. All right. So Magic Monday. So
Right.
what does Tuesday hold for us?
Tuesday is going to be Twin Tuesday. Twin Taco Tuesday,
Oh,
actually.
Twin Taco Tuesday.
Yeah.
Okay.
So $2 tacos at lunch, and then dress up as you and a coworker can dress up as twins.
Obviously,
Wednesday.
that's the same clothes and
Yeah, yeah.
hairstyles or whatever.
Right.
Okay, very good.
Um, Aloha Wednesday. So that's going to be, we're going to have ice cream for an ice cream social for our snack that day. And you can dress up as a tourist or you can dress up in your favorite Hawaiian.
Sure.
Little
You
get
put
up.
your lays on, right?
Right,
Yeah, bring your
right.
surfboard in just in case.
Mm-hmm.
We might need the surfboard today.
Gosh, I'm so scared. I don't. I got here and it started to rain and then it stopped as I was walking
Yeah.
and I'm like, thank you.
Yeah. You should be back for the real rain kicks
I
in.
know. And
Okay.
then, so Thursday is Theater Thursday.
Theater Thursday. Come as your
Exactly.
favorite actor.
Exactly.
Okay.
And, so you can guess what that entitles. You can dress up as your favorite theater actor or, movie t-shirt, whatever you want to
Okay.
do there. We're going to have popcorn later in the day.
Left to your imagination. There.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
That's why it's theater.
That's right.
Okay.
And then Friday, we've got Town and Country Bank. They're donating a barbecue. Thank you, Town and Country Bank. They're so good to do this for us. We appreciate them. It is going to be Funky Friday.
Funky Friday.
Yeah. So, you wear your platforms or your mismatched socks, however you define it. It's going to be different for anybody. We don't know what people are going to come looking
Big
like.
hair, whatever
Right.
it might be.
Right. And all week long, we've got random prize draws. So
Well,
we're
very
going to have
good.
bingo all week.
Oh,
So
good. So you have a real nice variety of different things that people can really kind of sink their teeth into. Maybe one of the things is not so the big deal. Maybe it's the Twin Taco Tuesday, but maybe again it is.
Right.
Maybe they're really going to get into that and dress up, as Frito Bandito. Who knows?
You don't know.
You just don't know.
You don't know. And if they don't want to dress up like on our themes, they can wear jeans and our, hospital T-shirts all week long if
Sure,
they feel like
sure.
it. My office is. I'm overwhelmed because there's so much stuff in there right now. All the prizes are in there. So
Well, your
it's
materials management, you're going to have a lot of stuff in your office
oh
anyway.
my goodness gracious. It is packed full of fun.
There you go. But it's all serious stuff because it really is rewarding the employees of the hospital for National Hospital
It is.
Week.
I actually love it that I get to see them when they come in and they've won something. I love when they come in and they're excited to get what they won.
So, and a lot of times you might actually meet somebody that you've never even met in a hospital
I
before.
do, quite
because
often,
when
yeah.
they win that prize, it might be somebody been there 2 years, but they're on the other end of the hospital. And you never see them.
Yeah, and they've not seen me either. And like, is this the right place? I'm like, yeah, there we go.
If you're looking for a prize, no. No, it sounds like you have a real good grasp on this and having some fun with it, and at the same time rewarding the hospital employees for their fine work.
Yeah,
I really
we
think
appreciate
it's like that.
everyone so much.
So I don't have anything else. There really is not much people would have a real need to talk to you about unless they have a great way of buying stuff or helping you buy stuff. Do you have a new GPO somewhere out there? You can get a hold of Dawn and tell her who it is because she can always open another door, right?
Right.
And I guess that's always something that you're doing. Is still you're always looking for a better price, obviously. But
Yeah.
it's not always very easy to get involved in these groups, though, because usually you have to purchase so much or a certain amount, and then you have to go by word of mouth from somebody else that says yes, they'll vouch for you. I mean, there's a lot to it, isn't there?
There's quite a lot to it. There's different contracts and things like that. There's some vendors that aren't a part of our GPOs that we do use, but you got to have pretty good pricing for us to consider just because of our situation.
I wanted to
So-
ask you one thing because I know years ago, and I know you've been buying for a long time, so you know as well as I do, you get to usually know somebody on the other end of a phone at a purchasing agent does or a buying agent does, and you get you get to know them pretty well. And
Right.
a lot of times may tip you off and say, hey, we're going to run short of this stuff. You may want to be buying this now.
Yes.
So a lot of that happens. Is that still going on in today's world of technology? Because a lot of times it's emails or texts. Is that still happening?
Yeah, that happens all the time. Actually, I get a newsletter from our GPO, and I also, we have specialized reps that I talk to all the time, and they are made aware of shortages and things like that. So we've developed a really good rapport.
Good.
So,
good. Giving you the inside scoop on
yeah.
something. As a heads up. Now,
Yeah.
they're not giving you inside information. They're just
Right.
giving you a
They know
fair-
we're a smaller facility, so they're like, and they try to help us out because of, like I was talking earlier about the allocations, they're not used to us buying a large amount of something maybe, and they already know the bigger hospitals are going to get allocated more, so they're like, in a couple months this is going to happen, so you might want to beef up now. It's not going to happen for a couple months, but you might want to buy up some stuff now.
And just to kind of add to that, there's still limited space where the hospital can store
Exactly.
all this. So
Yeah, it's
not like
it's
you
a
can
game.
buy. Yeah, I can buy 1,000 trash bags, or you need to buy 1,000,000. Well, I don't know where I can put 1,000,000
Right.
trash bags.
Yeah, we are very limited on
Yeah.
our space.
Yeah,
So
so that also plays into part of what you can do. So it's a true balancing act. Your job is with the space limitations, what you need to buy, what you need to have, what you can get,
right.
and then try and work the best price. Wow, sounds like a good challenge every single day.
It is.
And you seem to have fun with it, and that's the best part.
I mean, you got to try. You just have to.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it really is. Sometimes it's a challenge to you to find a better price, and sometimes you can, and sometimes you can't, and that's part of the deal.
Right.
But you also know, as materials management director, you can't spend an inordinate amount of time on one product because you've got hundreds more that you still got to get.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So, and there's probably not a lot of downtime in your
No,
job,
there's
I
not.
would have to think.
No.
Yeah, 'cause
No.
every single minute somebody needs something, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
Very good.
Yeah, people are like all day long, I barely see you. Well, I'm busy.
Yeah, I bet you are. I bet you are. Dawn, it's been wonderful just chatting with you. This is good, and I'm pleasure to meet you.
You
for
as
the very
well.
first time. See, this didn't hurt too bad.
No, not at all.
We're just sitting here talking, having a good time.
Yeah.
And you get to talk about your job, which you know better than anybody else.
Thank you.
Because you kind of created 95% of what you're doing. So you can really talk about it. But without people like yourself, though, who make sure that the hospital has those supplies and things, hospital doesn't run, does it?
Right. It's definitely a team effort on everybody's part. Every person there is needed for what they do. It doesn't work without any of us. So.
Well, thank you for what you do. It sounds like you have a good handle on what you're doing, and sounds like you've actually, I won't say have the perfect situation. I don't think anybody can ever say perfect situation, but it seems like you've molded it to something that you're very comfortable doing.
Yes.
Very
Yep,
good.
I love it.
Fantastic. Has been Dawn from Materials Management right here on KSMO on our spotlight on the Salem Memorial Hospital. Very good. Dawn, thank you very much. Stick around.